Oh, yeah. What's up, my friends? Woohoo! We are back here on another Saturday afternoon right here on Brockway's Vinyl Bites. I got a really cool triple shot on the panel here. We got our brother, Matt Brown. What's up, Matt?
Hello.
And we got Mr. Tom from Mr. Tom Curlis Mania. What's up, Tom?
What's up? How you doing, Cody?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad you guys are here. If you haven't checked it out, you loyal viewers, go check out Tom's channel, Curlis Mania, because there's some pretty cool stuff coming there in the next few days. He's got some cool stuff happening all the time. Love the album battles he's done, and the most recent one that's coming out has actually influenced today's live stream, which is we are ranking all the Pink Floyd albums on a tier list. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
We are going to go old school. We've done this a couple times in the far distant past here on the channel. And so what we're doing is we're going to take turns. So Matt will start, then Tom, then me, then Matt, Tom, me, so on and so forth. And each one of us, well, I'm going to be the wheel spinner, but each one it lands on has to take their turn and decide where they rank it from S, which is the greatest of the greats, to D, which is the lowest of the low. All right, so this is going to be fun. Now, I don't picture a whole lot of albums being in the D tier, but just to remind you that there really is no rules except for we just go turn by turn. And if you want to use one of your turns to move one of the albums into a different spot, you can do that at some point throughout just once. But yeah, so enough chit chat. Let's just get right into the game, shall we?
All right.
Okay, so Mr. Matt is going to go first, and we got David in the middle there.
Hello, David. Yes.
Let's do a little spin.
All right. What we gonna wind up with here?
Oh, starting off heavy.
Oh my God! Wow. We're starting out with an album that a lot of people cite as their all-time favorite.
So what does that mean for you, my friend? Where are we going to put it?
Well, I cannot put it anywhere other than the top tier. It is a perfect record. It's definitely in my top 5 Floyd. I mean, it depends on with Floyd, just like with all the other bands that I love and that a lot of us love. A lot of it's very mood based and sometimes even season based, but Wish You Were Here I can pretty much listen to any time of the year, any time of the day. So it's definitely in my top 5 Floyd records, and just everything about it, the lyric content, the way the music fits with the lyrics, particularly all the attention that the band put towards the multi-part Shine On. I love the fact that it bookends the album, that they decided to actually, give us the first 5 sections and then go into some other places, then come back to it for the final. I think that's great. And the way that themes come in and out. And I want to ask you guys real quick, maybe you've heard it, maybe people who are listening have heard it. Do you guys know where the nod, there actually is a bona fide musical nod to Syd Barrett during the piece? Do you know where it is?
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
Either of you, do you know where it is?
I don't.
I thought I had heard something about this, but I can't remember what it is or where it is.
Okay, I'm going to help you find it. And once you hear it, you'll always hear it. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It's at the very, very, very end. Rick Wright is playing a little synthesizer piece. He's playing a synthesizer, kind of a wind down solo.
Yeah.
And the very last thing he plays is the first beginning melody to see Emily play. He plays, Emily tries, but misunderstands. And it's gorgeous.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to cheat, you can scroll to the last 30 seconds of it and you'll hear it. It gives me the chills every time. And somebody pointed it out to me and I'm like, no way, but it's the truth.
So that's the end of the second the last 5 parts, right? The last 4 parts.
Yeah, the very end of the album, very end of Shine On, the final sections probably within the last 30 seconds of the piece.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah,
Well,
top tier record for me, absolutely.
Very informative, and that right there is why we do these live streams, my friend. Is the information and the connection and all that fun stuff. I didn't know that, Matt. Thank you very much for pointing that out.
Sure.
Now the question is, Mr. Tom.
Yes.
Mr. Tom, if you don't mind being called ground control to Mr. Tom. I won't call you Mr. Tom. Tom, are you ready to take your turn, my friend?
I am ready. I am ready. Spin that wheel, baby.
Let's spin David. Okay. All right. What do we got? Ha!
How appropriate.
How appropriate, right? Yes.
Oh my God. Momentary lapse. All right. We just talked about this. We literally, Cody and I, just to give a little plug, on Sunday, tomorrow night, there's going to be a premiere of Momentary Lapse versus Division Bell. We did this episode this past week. And
nice.
yeah, and it was really interesting because we were like really grappling about it. Like, which one do you pick? I mean, they're kind of very similar quality, you know? So that's going to premiere tomorrow. So a little plug for my channel. But anyway, back to the task at hand. I have to rate. I have to put it in. Oh my God, momentary lapse. Okay, I gotta. We talked about this, and I really like momentary lapse. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff to like in momentary lapse of reason. However, there is a legitimate beef that a lot of people have that this is really. Could be, I mean, it's like people call the final cut a Roger solo record. This could be like a David solo record, right? I mean, some of the tracks almost sound like About Face. I mean, if you listen to About Face, then listen to a Momentary Lapse, like, okay, there's a couple songs that could have been on this record. And there's a cast of thousands on this album. I mean, there's Tony Levin, there's Carmine Appice, there's a million like heavy hitter like studio cats on this record, right? I mean, and Rick Wright didn't even join until the last like part of the album. He put a couple keyboard parts on, so it's hard. So there is some legitimacy to people saying it's not really genuinely a Pink Floyd album per se, but it is a Pink Floyd record, so we have to rank it. So so can you tell I'm playing? Okay, let's go. I'm gonna put it in B.
In B. All right. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Right on.
I still listen to it a lot. I mean, even though it's, I still listen to that album a lot. I have a special place in my heart for it because it came out. It was exciting. And that time in 1988, when that was like Pink Floyd's still alive and they just put an album out. Holy crap. And he went out and bought it. It was so exciting. And they were touring. And it was like, oh my God, if you were a fan, it was exciting.
Yeah, I think, Matt, you saw them on that tour or Division Bell, right?
I saw them on both tours. I remember that period really, really well. And yeah, in spite of the fact that it was an album that had all these other people on it, it sonically, it felt like a Floyd record, and that really helped. And yeah, I mean, my best friend, one of my best friends at the time, Floyd were his all-time favorite band. So we were determined to see them, and we were both very excited. It was a great time to be a fan, you know?
Yeah.
My dad got to see them.
Yeah. Go ahead, Cody. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying my dad's in the comments here, and he actually got to go see them on the Momentary Lapse tour. Or it was Division Bell. It was one of the two. I can't remember, but he did get to catch it live.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw the Momentary Lapse tour as well in New Jersey, and it was great. It was a great show. I mean, people were really into it. People were into the new songs too at that time. Even like things like Sorrow and Learning to Fly, people were going nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I unfortunately didn't see Division Bell tour, which I'm kicking myself. I don't know why I didn't. Anyway.
Hey, Tom, let me ask you, when you saw, please pardon my voice. I'm getting my voice back, but when you saw them in Jersey, were they still doing echoes? I know they did that on a few dates.
No, they didn't do echoes now.
Okay.
When I saw them now. Yeah,
when I saw them in LA, they had long since dropped it by then, but I knew that some of the East Coast shows they were opening with echoes, so I was curious.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Fantastic. All right, I guess it's my turn now, isn't it? Okay. All right, spin. What do we got?
So hey Cody, I have a question. Do people get to override your placement at some point if they really disagree?
Yeah. So I'm a gumma. Okay. All right. Man, you guys got two of my favorite albums, and I got this. Yeah, it's yeah, so you can take one turn. Everyone's allowed one turn to move something, and so instead of spinning the wheel, they'll move something that's already on the board. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I like we typically allow one turn, well, not allow, but that's just kind of what we do. Is we just someone can substitute their turn for a move on the board.
Right.
All right, I'm a gamma. This one, I'm not going to be the guy to put it in the D tier, but I'm certainly not putting it anywhere near the S tier. It's the first half is really decent. The live stuff is pretty cool. The studio stuff I haven't listened to in years. It is, it's not. It's mostly not horrible because the first half, like I said, is really decent. Yeah, and you got. Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
The cover's brilliant.
Cover's cool. I like the cover a lot.
The cover's brilliant, and how if you look in the mirror each time, if you look in the mirror behind David there, the band is in a different position every time in the mirror.
Yes, exactly.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, the live stuff is cool. Some of the studio stuff is all right. That Roger Waters track, the grooving with a pick in a cave and all that is absolutely terrible. It's horrible, but
pretty bizarre.
It's bizarre. It's different, and that's fine. It does have, I believe, it does have a version of "Careful with That Axe, Eugene," and so yeah, that live stuff, the set the controls for the Heart of the Sun and all that is really great. So we'll put it. I'm okay with putting it in C tier.
I might be the lone wolf in this particular discussion. Tom, I don't know how you feel about this record, but for a long time it was one of my least favorites. But I'm actually enjoying it more and more as I get older, and I'm actually enjoying the just flat out bizarreness of that second record a little bit more than I did when I was a kid. I found out the other day that Steven Wilson, who's been a Floyd fan, pretty much his entire life, this is his favorite Floyd record. And I was that intrigued me. Like, what? Really? So I went back and listened to the studio tracks with that in mind, knowing, because I'm a big Steven Wilson fan too, knowing what he's done with his career. And it was a different way of, it did kind of make me listen to the album in a different way. But I mean, it's a series of experiments, and a lot of them are questionable, but I like it much better than I used to.
And there's something to be said about that. It's not a horrible record by any stretch, especially the live stuff is great. Some of the studio stuff is okay, like the Richard Wright stuff is not bad. It's just I think that it gets plagued by that one Roger Waters track.
Yeah.
It's grown in my opinion as well, Matt. I'm in the same camp, like where I used to think this album was like, really bad. And then, it's what's funny, as you get older, you kind of open your mind a little bit more. And I'm telling you, there's one track I will say, Narrow Way is pretty damn, I mean, go listen to the Narrow Way, crank it up. It's pretty good.
Narrow Way is awesome. That's my favorite part of that half of the album for sure.
Yeah.
That's I'm gonna give it a revisit and maybe see about that Roger Waters track if we can work around it, right? But because you're right. Like, what's that, Matt?
I might have been the right age to just think that Roger Waters track was ridiculously funny. I don't know what it was. It might have been around the same time I was getting into Monty Python, but this compilation album called Works came out in like 83 or 84.
Oh,
and
yeah.
For me, that was my first introduction to a lot of pre-Dark Side Pink Floyd music. And that tune, that piece, I can't call it a tune because there's no tune, but that track is on there. And I remember hearing it going, what the hell is this? But it was so bizarre that I just thought, okay.
and even in Sisyphus too, if you're in the right mood, I mean, if you listen to Sisyphus all the way through in the right mood, it can hit you. So it's definitely not it's not the primo heavy, like all four working together Floyd. That's the only thing that's I could say that's not Omagoma is not, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so experimental. It's like they just said, all right, we're all going to each individually do these things. And so you see an album that is a double record set, and you're immediately thinking, oh, double the dose. This is going to be fantastic. And you probably, I mean, I know I did anyway, and you have kind of preconceived ideas of what you're going to get. And this is just not that. And it's like, oh my. Okay.
Yeah. It's not horrible. It's just not great. And
You're right. I agree with you.
That's why I didn't put it in the D tier, because it does have redeeming qualities to keep it above the worst. Like it's not horrible. So, you know, we got my dad in the audience. We got Mr. Wandrous. Mr. Wandrous, what's up, man? We got Tara O'Reilly, my Irish lady friend. What's up, Tara? Woo-hoo!
What's up?
Yes. Hello. A very wise outlook from you, Pops. Great stuff. Oh yeah, she asked how he's doing, and he says every day above ground is a mystery. Living the dream here.
That's right. Every day you wake up healthy is a good day.
That's right.
So we got Mr. Matt Brown that's going to spin David once more. Are you ready to spin David?
All right. Let's see what David brings us this time.
Okay.
What?
Dude, wait, before we get into this, we got Record Hound in the audience. What's up, Record Hound? And the CD Cave. Yo. Matt is the wall.
Oh my God. Well, the wall was the first. The wall. I mean, that's such a monstrous thing to talk about, obviously, pun intended. The Wall was the first Floyd record I got into. I remember being a young kid and Another Brick coming out. And I was an avid listener in the States. I think Tom, I'm sure, is probably aware of this too. In the States, we had a weekly syndicated radio show called American Top 40, which did the Billboard chart every week. And Casey Kasem was the host. And the week that Another Brick Part 2 was the number one single, one of the weeks it was the number one single anyway, he talked about the Wall album, and he played the backwards message from side 2. And as a 9-year-old kid, just turning 10, I heard that and went, oh, that's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard. I need to go buy that right now. Because I'd already bought the single, but I was like, all right, you have sufficiently intrigued me. So a couple weeks of allowance money later, and I'm going to buy the Wall.
That's amazing. So where would you like to rank it?
I would. This is maybe a controversial opinion. Because a little more backstory, but very quick. I loved it all through my middle school and high school years. I don't play it nearly as much as I used to, although I've revisited it in the last couple of years. There are moments I think that are a little too self-indulgent for me, and I did not think that as a youth, but I'm going to rank it in the A tier.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little painful for me to do that because we're talking about Comfortably Numb and Hey You and Goodbye Blue Sky and Nobody Home and the 2 parts of In the Flesh. But the Trial is brilliant too, you know. But I just think it's such a kind of dark, angry record. There's a lot of, you know, the character is pretty narcissistic, you know. So, and obviously he's got his own things to deal with, and it's done so well, but it's almost too much. So that's why I put it there. But there's no doubt that it's an incredible achievement. So there you go.
All right. Okay. Well said. I have a story about the Wall. As I first came into Pink Floyd actually through Korn covering Another Brick in the Wall. And then my dad showed me the movie before I had heard any Pink Floyd songs at all. So he showed me the movie, and that I was 10 years old, and he showed me the movie. Yeah, my dad's crazy. I love him. And that actually made me a fan. The next day, I went to HMV and bought a CD copy of The Wall. And so that actually made me a fan of the band.
Oh. Very
I didn't
cool.
stop listening to that thing for like years. I just obsessed with it. And so yeah, The Wall, nice one. Okay, Mr.
I think
Tom is.
I think
What's
when
that,
you're an
Tom?
angry when you're an angry young man, the Wall is like, yes,
Yeah.
speaking to me, speaking to me. But then as you get older, you're like, this guy's kind of complaining a lot, man.
I was never an angry man ever. I loved the songs and the storytelling and the whole thing about it. I don't know. I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, no, I love. There's no question though that The Wall is a great piece of work. I mean, it's
Yeah.
man, it's there's no question.
Yeah.
Wonder how you became jaded.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one way of looking at it.
Certainly, you ain't talking to us.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna spin David again. Here we go. This one's for you, Tom.
Okay, bring it. Oh! Endless. I'm getting all the latter era stuff, man. Okay. Oh man, Endless River. Are you kidding? Wow.
They counted this as a Pink Floyd album.
Yeah, this is tough. This one's really tough. I mean, this is basically a bonus disc from Division Bell.
Yeah.
Essentially, I mean, this is how they started Division Bell. Was they were thinking, speaking of Omagoma, they were saying we might go back to times where we're just jamming in the studio together and kind of putting these long jams together, which I thought was a great idea because they're so good at jamming.
Yeah.
And that's how Division Bell started. And then they picked, like, they had like 65 pieces of music and they all voted on what were the best parts. And maybe these were like the leftover parts that didn't get votes or something, or didn't get as many votes. And then they put it together. These engineers put all these things together and called it the Big Spliff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what for a long time it was a bootleg called the Big Spliff.
Right.
But to me, it's still a bonus disc. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy listening to it, but it's not something I listen to very often at all, honestly. I mean, it just feels like, I mean, there's a couple times where you go, oh, that sounds like Wish You Were Here, or that sounds like, oh, that sounds like Welcome to the Machine, or that sounds like, there's all these little echoes of things that pun intended. There's all these things that you can hear that, it has some cool moments, but I can't say that it's, I don't know. And even like, I don't know, Louder Than Words is okay. It's all right. I mean, when they said something about we bitch and we fight, I'm like, Pink Floyd doesn't say bitch in a song. Like, I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Because Polly Sampson's writing the lyrics, and I don't know. This is so hard. I can't rank it high though. For me, I can't.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I gotta go. All right, I'm gonna put it C. I bet. No, I'll put a D. I'll put a D.
So S? Just kidding.
No,
All right, so that's just turning out pretty evenly so far. There's exactly one in each column.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's it doesn't usually work out this way. Wow, what a discography here, right? This is quite a thing. All right, yeah, I would have ranked it the same, Tom. I would have done the exact same thing. Good choice.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'm probably going to get more or the final cut or something like that if I'm knowing my luck here today. If I get Animals, I will lose it. That's going to be great if I do. Okay. Oh, okay. Obscured by Cloud.
There you go. There you go.
I thought for sure I was going to land on more. Yes, I do like this record. Okay, so it was the soundtrack to the film La Vallée that came out at the time. I haven't seen the film, but I have listened to this record quite a few times. Free for Childhood's End. What's the Deal? This is a really decent record, and it's the last one before, Dark Side of the Moon, right? It was when they were still writing, songs for movies and putting them out as Pink Floyd albums, but they were actually soundtracks. And this one's really enjoyable. It's a lot. It's kind of head and shoulders above more. They were also more established. So to say, as they've sort of worked on their sound, like since More came out in 68, 69 or whatever, they had really done a lot in those 2-3 years since. And their sound changed, and they were becoming pretty different. So I'm gonna put this in the B tier. I'm gonna put Obscured by Clouds in the B tier here. All right, so we shall take that out, and it is Matt's turn once again to spin David.
All right. David,
All right, all right, Mr. Matt, are you ready to get Dark Side of the Moon?
all prediction, but I understand why you're saying that. I guess we'll see what happens. Oh boy.
Spin it.
Oh. Oh my.
Matt is getting all the heavy hitters, man. He's getting all the.
If I get metal too, I'm gonna think this wheel is rigged. Animals. Oh my word. I remember when I was a young kid, I was living in a house that had a big open field across the street from it on a cul-de-sac, and we used to play tetherball and ride our bikes and run laps in that field. And I remember one day I saw a discarded, broken cassette tape on the ground in the field, and it was Pink Floyd's Animals. And I was looking at this record going, because it was just like, dogs, sheep, pigs. Like, well, what is this album? Is it just animal sounds? Like, I had no idea what it was. I didn't hear it till much, much later. It's one of my very favorite Floyd records now. And yeah, I mean, I think actually here, I mean, I don't know if this is true for everyone else. It may or may not be, but hearing Animals actually it didn't change my opinion of The Wall, but I felt like it achieved something more in some ways more powerfully and more efficiently, in spite of the presence of an 18-minute song. I think it's wonderful. That's an S tier record for me. I adore it every moment, and I wish that I know that they've done I'm actually really interested to finally hear the remix and the Blu-ray and all of that, but I do wish that they would have added that Pigs on the Wing parts 1 and 2 that merges them together and has the extra guitar solo from Snowy White. I wish that was as a bonus track, because it's very cool if you haven't heard it.
Yeah, and you can only get that on the 8-track.
Yeah.
What a weird format.
Yeah, I've got it on a bootleg, but it's only on 8-track, right?
So weird.
It is strange. Yeah. But it's a brilliant album. There's a band out here in LA called Groove Session that occasionally will play it in its entirety, and it's such a treat when they do. So
we got a couple of Canadians in the audience here. We got Record Hound. He's from Canada. We got Sean Barnes, another Canadian here from Ottawa. We got a Canadian on the panel too. What's going on here, guys?
Represent.
Of course, we have Europeans. We've got Americans. We've got everything going on here, right? This is all over.
The Maples are here, man.
The Maple Canucks. There we go. All right, yeah, that's a great placement for that record. There was a period in my life where I would listen to this. I used to work at this is a pretty Canadian place for the Canadian guys here. I used to work at Tim Hortons up the street, and I would go in there every morning, and I would play Animals and Pulse for my entire 8-hour shift on repeat, over and over and over. And eventually they pretty much got sick of it. Then when I put on Iron Maiden one morning, they said, "That's it. Turn your music off. We're putting on the radio."
Oh.
And, yeah, then I made them put on Q107. And anyway, getting off topic here, but Animals.
Oh my God, some of the Gilmore stuff on this, it gives me shivers. I mean, it's just like so good. Like it's the end. Is it the end of Sheep, where he just goes off? It's just like, oh my God, it's incredible.
Yeah.
We got the classic rock junkie in the house. What's up, bro?
Hey.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. And that riff, it's great.
Yes, yes. It's like
And
so
so,
Gilmore. It's so Gilmore.
Yeah.
absolutely. And so that brings us to your turn, Tom.
All right.
You ready to spin, David?
I'm ready. Go. Let's go.
Okay. I love doing these, man. This is so fun.
This is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying this. Oh,
Ooh.
yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. I was hoping to get this.
All right.
Yeah. This album has grown more than any other Pink Floyd record in the canon for me personally. I'm not quite sure why, but that Adam Hart Mother Suite for me is just like perfect. I love it. It's a little bit stilted at times. You can tell there's a little bit of like, like Ron Geeson was working with them, and there's stuff that was out of time, and they sort of rushed through it a little bit. But I don't care. I still love it. I just love the thing to death.
It is fantastic. It's great.
Yeah. And then I also like the seconds. I mean, I like the other side too. I mean, isn't If is on this record, right?
Yep.
It is. It's the second track on the CD.
Yeah, If and
Fat Old Son.
but Fat Old Son, which Gilmore did on his solo tour, and brought that thing out, and it sounded so great. That kind of was like, oh my god, that got me to pull out Adam Hart Mother again. I really like this album a lot. I don't know, there's something magical about this album. For me, and it's funny because the band members themselves kind of diss it. Like they're like, Adam Hart Mother, we didn't really know what we were doing. It was too rushed. It wasn't very good. I'm like, I love this. I think it's fantastic. It went to #1 in the UK when it came out. So obviously it did well at the time. So anyway, I'm going crazy here, but I got to put it. I don't know if it's an S, but I'm putting it in an A.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's wow. Great choice.
Yeah, I love Adam Hart Mother.
Yeah. Adam Hart Mother. Yeah, it is pretty decent. It stands out because it's different, and it's different in a good way. This is not a horrible, like, there's nothing on this where you go, that is just totally off-putting. There's nothing like that on here. It's much unlike everything else in the catalog, and to its own merit, because that's how they did all their albums. All their albums are so different from each other, and this one's no exception. But it's really a really experimental turn in an already very experimental catalog. And so yeah, great choice, great ranking there, my friend. So we got wow, look at how this, I'm just amazed at how even this is coming out
so far. Yeah.
so far. I'm gonna spin David and see what he says. All right, let's rock.
Right, Cody, you're up.
Here we go.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a long time since I played this. There's the Nile songs on this. It's pretty decent. It's kind of it's hard to describe. It was the first soundtrack that they did. They were still, not to say that they were finding their sound, but they were just kind of working it out and how to write film scores for really obscure movies. And there's no difference on the record because it's a very obscure sounding album. You got Cymbalines on here, the Nile song. I'm gonna put it next to Amagama here, if you can believe that, just to make this list more even. I'm not gonna put it in D tier because it's not bad. Like the Nile song is pretty decent, and a couple other tracks are okay. But I think C tier is fitting for me. All right, so we'll take that out, and it is Matt's turn once again.
Cymbalines, man. Cymbalines is a great song too.
Yeah,
it is.
Green is the Color is a nice one too. But yeah, it's a hard album.
Yeah,
and it's kind of one of those records where you have to either listen to a couple tracks by themselves or just play the whole thing down and get lost in where you go. But it's very eclectic for sure. So
yeah, it's a good rate. That's a good rating, Cody. I agree with your rating. I think that's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and for what it's worth, I agree with most of the ratings here so far too. Yeah, so we're gonna have Mr. Matt Brown go once again, and he's gonna spin David. Are you ready, Matt?
Ready. We got 6 albums left. Let's see what we get.
Let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, hey, you got your theme song, Matt.
Another tough one.
This makes me very, very happy.
Yeah.
I adore this record. And I love the fact that it's so transitional.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it was, other than the Works compilation and Metal, I think it was the first early Floyd record I ever bought. And in my heart, believe it or not, it's an S record, but I'm going to put it in the A tier because it's not. Actually, I should probably put it in the B tier if I'm really being contextual with the rest of the albums. But for me, it would be like probably in between all of those. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm putting it in A because it is weird. It is delightful. It is scary. It's kind of, we have this really bizarre transition between Sid checking out of the band and David coming in. I mean, there's like at least one song where all 5 of them play on it.
Yeah.
And of course, it's got Jug Band Blues, which was pretty much the last thing we heard from Sid until he did his solo record. It's a real spooky record. It's a great record to play at Halloween.
Yeah, it is.
It is kind of spooky.
awesome
That's a
album.
great way to say it. Yeah.
It's really haunting and ghostly, and I'm a sucker for stuff like that. Just on a personal level, I love those kinds of moods and environments. Set the Controls. I think songs like Remember a Day and even Seesaw and Let There Be More Light are really underrated. And Corporal Clegg is hilarious.
Yeah.
Have this Saucerful Suite, which is just this weird sound collage. So I mean, it's one of the albums of theirs I actually listen to the most. So yeah, I gotta put it in the A tier if I'm really searching my heart. That's probably not something anyone's going to agree with, and I accept that.
You know what? The way you were talking about it and like some of the stuff you're making me remember about the record, I'm like, maybe this should be an S tier, like you said. I don't know.
Well,
You want it an A?
I'm thinking A too. I agree with A.
Yeah.
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 Because you're right. It's fascinating because it's such a transitional album. Like it's the transition between Piper and the rest of the catalog,
Yeah.
And it's like you're right. It's fascinating. I find it fascinating for some reason.
Yeah. It's one of those records kind of like Adam Hart Mother and Obscured by Clouds that as I've gotten older, I've spent more time with. I think because, most of us have heard the big 4, if you want to call them that, for years and years and years, and they're all classics, deservedly, but we haven't heard these ones nearly as much, so they still sound fresher, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, it's Mr. Tom.
All right,
we're gonna remove Saucerful of Secrets. Tom, you're gonna
spin that thing.
Look at what's left here. This is all mostly great stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes.
Mostly.
Okay.
All right.
I have a feeling I know which one I'm going to get. I just have this feeling, but go ahead and spin it.
All right. We'll spin David. Woo!
I knew it. Final cut.
How did you know?
Geez. This one's so difficult. Because opinion is so divided on this record. I mean, within Pink Floyd fandom, it's like some people just worship this record, and I am not one of those people, unfortunately. I respect. This is one of those albums I respect, but I don't love. Like, I respect it. Like, it's a good piece of work, but I don't like go, hey man, listen to some Floyd. Let me go get the final cut. I just never do it.
Yeah, I get it.
I just don't do it. I must be a Gilmore guy at heart. I must be more of a Gilmore led, because I just feel like when David puts his stamp on it, when Roger writes the lyrics and David puts his musical stamp, or Rick and David, whoever, that's where the magic happens. Yeah. And this is where David basically plays a couple solos and leaves. As far as or gets pushed out or whatever, about halfway through the album. Because Cody and I were talking about this on the episode that there's a quote where he says, by halfway through the final cut, I was driving home, swearing, yelling at, screaming obscenities because I was so frustrated. Because Roger didn't want me, he didn't want my music, he didn't want my ideas, he didn't want anything. He just said, "Nope, I got it. I'll take care of it. I got it. I'm making this album." So, but there are some great moments in this. There's some great moments on this album. There's no question. Like Southampton Dock, and there's a couple of really, really good songs on it. I even like Not Now John. I think Not Now John's kind of a cool track.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Now John, we gotta get in, gotta get on. Exactly. So man, this is so hard. All right, and the lyrics are great. I mean, it's great. It's Roger's lyrics are very good on this record. Oh god, I'm gonna put it. Can I look at this here? I'm gonna put it. I'll put it in B.
B. Okay. All right. There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
That is a tough one. You're so right. That's so hard.
Yeah, because there is moments on it that are pretty okay.
The title track,
Two Sons in the Sunset's a cool track too.
The title track is absolutely beautiful and heart wrenching.
Yeah.
So
the Memorial Home is pretty nice too. Yeah. Okay. Right on. Okay. So. Wow. So finally, I'm getting like a turn where I'm like, I love all 4 of these.
Okay. Same here.
This is where it gets tough, friends. This is where it gets really tough.
Either of these is going to be easy for me. So, all right.
Come on,
man.
This is simple. S tier.
Easy. That's an easy one. Thank you.
This is an absolutely magnificent record, top to bottom. It's one of those records where it's best played alone in your basement in the middle of the night with the lights off. It's it's terrifying upon first listen, but that's what we like about these things, right? Bingo. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mr. Wondrous knows what's up.
Woo! He knows.
Mr. Wondrous is Mr. Wondrous. If Matt doesn't have a YouTube channel, but if you haven't checked out Curless Mania, and everyone else, if you haven't checked out Curless Mania, I would highly recommend you do so. Matt, you need a YouTube channel, my friend. Although, of course, you can hear Matt on the radio, on Deep Nuggets Radio every Tuesday night.
Oh, cool. All right.
I have to find I have to create a hole in my schedule so I can do a YouTube channel. That's the problem right now.
Yeah, it is a lot of time. It really is a lot of time.
And time is not something I have a lot of at the moment. So, but yeah, thank you for saying that. It would be really fun to do one. But yeah, Tom, I think like Cody, we both have our radio shows, and they can be a lot of fun when they want to be. That's for sure.
Every time. Very nice. I'm going to take a break from the panel here just for a second, from the ranking here just for a second, and just talk about the radio shows for a minute. So Matt Brown does a show on www.deepnuggets.com every Tuesday night, and I do a show there every Thursday night. So I'm on Deep Nuggets as well, and I also do a show on Prog Radio. You just go progradio.com every Thursday at noon, and bam.
Boom.
Nice.
Boom.
Okay, so Mr. Wondrous wants to know generally where you're from. Tom.
Where am I from?
Yeah, he's from the U.S.
I'm from the United States. I originally grew up in New Jersey, and I live in Michigan. So that's basics.
Cool.
He's out there hanging out with Eminem.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. I'm hanging out on 9 Mile, baby.
Right on. Okay, yeah. So metal, it's perfect. Fearless. I even like that little quirky Saint-Tropez. As I reach for a peach, slide around from behind. It's a perfect album. It's that sort of jazzy Roger Waters type thing going on. It's a fantastic record. One of these days, going into A Pillow of Winds.
Yeah,
and obviously, we can't ignore side 2.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
Seamus, right?
Yeah. 43 minutes of the dog howling. Yes.
Jameis.
No, I think Seamus closes out side 1.
It does. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like Genesis doing Foxtrot. They have Horizons there, so you think of side 2, and you think of Supper's Ready, but Horizons is like the first minute on the second side. Yeah. So Metal Echoes is just fantastic. I mean, I love halfway through when they get to that groove. If you listen close, you can hear the drums become double tracked in that spot.
I love that part that they go.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they split between left and right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That is such a killer groove. That groove they get into. Oh my god.
And the thing that they do when they're coming out of the seagulls back into the organ, and you hear the and then when the twin guitars come in and the sky opens up, it's just like that's one of the greatest moments of Floyd music for me ever.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Agreed.
Oh my God.
You're right. Everyone is right here. Like the choices here are so good. I'm pretty happy with this list so far. So Metal is my choice, and we got Matt Brown for one more.
Any of these 3 are going to be really interesting picks.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is actually evenly fair too. That means we all get one more pick. One
right
more.
On. There you go. Cool.
All right, so Mr. Matt, here we go.
Keep going.
It's right on the. Oh, Piper. Okay.
Oh yeah.
This is a good album.
Like The Price is Right, where you're like waiting to hit the 500. Oh.
Yeah, it's like The Price is Right or something, you know. wait, don't wait, go past the bankrupt. Wait, it's Wheel of Fortune.
Exactly.
The thing is, these albums are really decent records, though, that we're left with.
Yes, so. I agree. All
oh
three
God,
of them,
yeah, absolutely.
They're so different from one another, and they're all very special, you know. So,
yeah.
God, what can you say about Piper, especially something that hasn't already been said? I mean, it's whimsical and it's psychedelic and it's childlike, it's dark, it's kind of everything, just depending on what track you're listening to. I mean, I realize it's a British thing that they did not put See Emily Play or Arnold Lane on this record. In America, that probably would have happened, and I think in the American version of Piper, I think does have See Emily Play on it, if I'm remembering correctly. It's a different track listing than the UK version, but I just said that so we could briefly mention those songs. Anyway, we're not on.
Well, those are both genius songs. You got to mention them for sure.
They totally are. Yeah, I mean, they're the beginning of it all, really, when you get right down to it. Yeah, just the way this. I mean, in some ways, I kind of feel like, even though they spent a good 4 or 5 years experimenting and looking for what would become the album Dark Side, right?
Yeah.
Even you listen to a song like Astronomy Domini, and you can hear there's a direct, to me anyway, there's a direct through line from a song like that all the way through to things like Time and that whole. I mean, I used to just say they were a spacey band. That was my favorite adjective to describe Floyd. Then even the psychedelic stuff to me was always very spacey, and I love that. And I mean, you could interpret it as druggy if you go that way, but you don't necessarily have to. These are records that, if you want to listen to them enhanced, you can, but you don't necessarily need to. They take you there. It's really remarkable. And but I mean, I love Lucifer Sam, and I really like, maybe just because I'm kind of obsessed with Eastern culture, even if it's filtered through the Brits. I love Chapter 24. That's one of my favorite Floyd tunes, actually.
Yes.
It's so abstract. It's just opening up the I Ching and like looking at a page, right? But it's kind of cool. Bike, Interstellar Overdrive, you know, the was it Take Up Thy Stethoscope? I mean, Loose for Sam. I can't.
Loose for Sam. Yeah.
I
So
can't
killer.
say record. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is good.
It's an S record for me without any question.
And I think, yeah, it is a good record. Yeah, you got it up in the S tier. It is very good. No matter what state you listen to it in, it's a great record. And I don't think that I agree with what you said. I don't think that you have to be under the influence of anything but your own self then to just be able to enjoy this piece of amazing art,
Yeah.
And it's just great. Yeah, because it's good music. If anything's good, you don't have to be in a certain I don't know, messed up mind state or whatever to appreciate it, right? Because if it's good art,
it will take you there.
exactly, and that's what good art does, right?
Naturally.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I love that he sings. Sid is such an interesting talent. I love how he sings sort of off the beat sometimes, and like it's just it's just like the whole bike. When you listen to Bike, you're like, what does he say? Oh, I've got a bike. You can ride it if you like. It's got, whatever. And then he says something about, I call him Gerald.
Yeah,
like mouse. Yeah.
All right. So we've got.
He's a good mouse. He's a good mouse.
He's a good mouse.
Yeah.
So, Tom, are you ready?
Oh my God, I guess.
This could go one of two ways.
Yeah.
All right. This one's for Tom. Which one will it end on?
50%. Dark Side.
Got it.
Well, like you just said, what do I say about Dark Side that hasn't already been said? It's just an amazing piece of work. There's no doubt that it's just unbelievable. Of course it's an S. It's the culmination of all of their talents into one, where they were all rowing the same direction in a boat, and it's like they're all going to the same spot and they just it was like everything was going like this, and they just hit it right there with Dark Side. And I mean, Obscured by Clouds, if you listen to that, I mean, there's a couple moments you're like, okay, you can hear it coming.
Yeah.
Things like Free For and like even the lyrical themes are kind of coming out a little bit in Free For, and talking about death and shuffling in a sick room and all this stuff. And he was starting to think about, my favorite thing that Roger said about it was he said something to the effect of, when you're younger, that you think you're always preparing for life that's going to happen. And all of a sudden he realized, my life is happening now. I don't need to prepare. My life is happening right now. Like, I don't need to be constantly preparing for something in the future. I can be living right now. And I thought it's interesting when you hear that quote and you listen to the lyrics. It's really interesting. So it's, what can I say? I mean, I just think that they're all on top game, top form on this record, and they're all at their height of creativity. I mean, that could be debated, but because I love Wish You Were Here too, but it's like that. It's just, there's something about this record that has a magical feel to it.
I agree with you. That's totally well said. We got Kyle from All Media Reviews in the house. Of course, what's up, Kyle? How you doing?
Yeah, what's up, man?
We got the Classic Rock Junkie. I repeat, go subscribe to Curless Mania if you haven't already. After this video, of course.
I will.
Yeah, thanks, Cody. Thank you, man.
Of course. Like the Beatles, they could successfully blend the obscure with the accessible. Well said. Wow.
Yes.
Well said.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And you know
Very
what?
true.
Another band that I think does that really well is for some people it's kind of a love them or hate them band, but I think that they've found a way to successfully take an accessible side of their music and mix it with the obscure proggy side. Is Tool. I know not everyone's a Tool fan, but there's certain Tool songs that we hear on the radios over here, and it's like, okay, like they've found a way to make these intricate pieces of music and make them so that people who aren't even into prog or heavy rock or whatever can relate to it on a level. And that's what Pink Floyd has done here very effortlessly. And I think that that's one of the things that Tool got from Pink Floyd was the ability to do that. And so yeah, and Pink Floyd do that perfectly. So I'm going to spin David. I wonder which one I'm going to get.
You're going to get On an Island.
On an island. Oh, division bell.
Rattle that lock.
Yeah, around that lot.
I'm really, really happy that I got this one.
This is appropriate for you, Cody. This is perfect, man.
It is. Well, you saw me. Y'all about to. If you go to Curless Mania tomorrow night, you're going to see me geek out over this record.
Yeah.
Right on.
The T-shirts. I got these guys. I got the record. This is. You know what? I gotta take a second here. I did show this on Curless Mania, but I'm going to show it to you guys here too. The blue vinyl edition.
Right
So
on.
beautiful. Beautiful.
I absolutely adore this record. Okay. Let's get this back in here. There we go. I absolutely think this is a fantastic record. The songs on it are very emotional, and they very much, especially if you know a bit of history about what was going on at the time, and with the band and in the world in general, like the Berlin Wall coming down, and the lawsuit with Roger Waters and David Gilmour coming to grips with all of that and everything that was happening around everyone at the time, I suppose, even though I wasn't alive. It definitely is an emotional look at all of that stuff, and it's a very hopeful record. I'm not going to say too much because we covered it on Curless Mania. But it's a very hopeful record. While the whole thing kind of gives you this feeling of looking back at everything that you've done and the people that you were, with or friends with or connected with or whatever, and just all those moments in your history. And it's kind of one of those where you look back and smile and you say hello to the next chapter of your life. That's what I get from this entire record. And that's everything, the instrumentals, the songs. That's what so much of it means to me. And so with that, I'm going to put it in the A tier. And
Cool.
So we have a perfect slant here. This could be interchangeable. It could be S tier. It could be A tier. But, with that, I think that this is it sits perfectly where it is. Do you guys have any things that you want to change about the board here, about the list?
I don't think so. I mean, I rate, I'll tell you right now, I rate Momentary Lapse higher than where it is, and I probably actually now do rate Ummagumma higher than where it is, but I think it's good I think for me they're good where they sit.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have put Momentary Lapse up with Division Bell, but I like the look of this layout.
I do too.
My OCD says this is beautiful.
It is like very perfect. It's like so perfect as far as it's hard to move anything right now because it's so perfect.
It is.
It's actually very Pink Floyd for it to be in this geometric shape, I think.
There you go. Yeah, so I'm happy with it, and I'm so happy that you guys have come on to be part of this. Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Matt, and thanks to everyone who's watching this live and afterwards. Yeah, Mr. Wanderous knows exactly what's going on here. Album battle tomorrow night. What is it? 9:00, right, Tom? 9:00.
8:00 Eastern. Yeah.
8:00
cool.
Eastern. Okay, so that is 5:00 on the Pacific. If you go over to Curless Mania on YouTube, you can check out a really cool video that's going to be debuting out there. Tom's awesome. Matt's awesome. We have lots of fun here on Brockway's Vinyl Bites. So we are going to come back next week, and we are going to, I'm putting it in, drawing the line in the sand right here, right now. We are going to rank, not on a tier list, but we are going to rank the debut albums of the classic Genesis members that were on The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. So Steve Hackett, Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, Mike Rutherford, Tony Banks, those 5 gentlemen. And we might have more guests with us, who knows, but definitely this core 3 will be there for sure. What do you say, Tom? You part of it?
I'm in for sure.
And Matt Brown, you're in too?
I'm in too, man. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll be back next week with a cool Genesis-y sort of ranking. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Sean, the Classic Rock Junkie, Mr. Wanderous, Tara, Kyle from All Media Reviews. Thank you, Peter Jones. Thank you, Dad. Dad's in here somewhere. Oh yeah. Yeah. And of course, thank you, Tara. Just going back to the comments. Yeah. Thank you all. And the final cut needs to be higher. I just love it. I saw Roger Waters live about 2 years ago, and he played a couple of cuts from the final cut, pun intended, and it was actually pretty decent to see some of it live. But I'm happy with this list.
All right.
All right, so we will see all of you lovely viewers next week, and don't forget to like and subscribe and all that fun stuff, and rock on.
Thanks, Cody.
Thanks, Cody.
Thank you, rock on.
See you, man.
Wow. Yeah.